Tell me the tale of the fearless Bishonne, who sailed the seas of the Blue Galleon, where the adventure began. Who faced the banners of the Red Star and the hunters from the Black Forest. Who withstood the cannon's fire and tamed bulls and lions. The same Bishonne that laid siege to the northern castle, challenged the prince, and sank the Flying Dutchman, who triumphed in the arena, crushed the Blaugrana Legion, and now to the arena returns once more. Tell me all of this before the final chapter is written.
UEFA Champions League takes center stage on Saturday. It's the grand finale of the UEFA Champions League. So after 36 clubs are qualified for the 2024-2025 UEFA Champions League. Now we are down to 2, and eventually after that game, we'll definitely get to see who wins the trophy, the most coveted trophy, the most prestigious trophy in European club football. It's Inter Milan of Italy taking on Paris Saint-Germain of France. Quite an interesting matchup. I will be taking a look at the chances of these two teams, as well as which of the managers have got that tactical edge over the other. The name is Josiah, and don't forget to subscribe to the Our Media channel, where we'll keep bringing to you all the latest happenings in the world of sport. So let's get off with what we should expect from the Allianz Arena. It's actually the 5th time that the UEFA Champions League final will be played in Germany at the Allianz Arena. So the previous times that the Champions League final has been played at that ground, we've seen a new winner being crowned champion. So the last time, most recently, was Chelsea in the 2012-2013 season, when they beat the host and the stadium owners, that's Bayern Munich, to win it. So that's one history alluded to the Allianz Stadium whenever a European final is being played. This time, there's no Chelsea in action. There's no Bayern Munich, because they got knocked out of the competition by eventual finalists. That's Inter Milan, who will be facing Paris Saint-Germain. We'll be taking a look at, the possible lineups from both teams, and then also definitely what both coaches have said, heading into this crunch fixture. Now, let's take a look at PSG in perspective. So Paris Saint-Germain qualified to the finals by beating Arsenal home and away. What a way they did it. They did it so emphatically, and they beat Arsenal to pop 1-0 in the first leg, and then also a 2-1 win in the second leg to qualify on a 3-1 aggregate. And everyone seems to have familiarized themselves with the starting 11 of this Paris Saint-Germain team, with Donnarumma in post, and you have Pacho as well as Marquinhos playing as the two centre-backs. Then also you have Achraf Hakimi as left back, as a right back, and then also Nuno Mendes as the left back for them. Now, the strongest department of this Paris Saint-Germain team has to do with their midfield trio, where you have Vitinha, you have Fabian Ruiz, and then also the young chap in Joao Neves. Now, up front, there wouldn't be a place for Bacola, we are hearing, but then Desiree Doué, who was voted the youngest player in the just-ended French Ligue 1, and then also Ousmane Dembele, as well as Vicha Kvaratskhelia. So that is the possible starting 11 for Paris Saint-Germain. But then heading into the game, there's one unwanted record for PSG they might want to avoid. Now, PSG were in the final of the UEFA Champions League 5 years ago when they met Bayern Munich in the grand finale. Unfortunately, they just couldn't win when they had the likes of Neymar and then also Kylian Mbappe playing for them. So when they had Kylian Mbappe and then also Neymar Jr., playing for them. Now, 5 years after that, they do not have Kylian Mbappe, neither do they have Neymar Jr. But then they have one of the hottest forwards in the game now, in Ousmane Dembele. They have one of the most promising prospects in world football now in Desiree Doué, and then also a proven winger in Vicha Kvaratskhelia. Now, French teams haven't really thrived in the history of European finals. So out of 15 finals that French teams have played in, they've only won 2. That includes the UEFA Europa League, the Champions League, as well as the Super Cup. Now, the last time a French team triumphed in a European final was in 1993 when Marseille beat AC Milan to become champions of the UEFA Champions League. So since then, over 22 years, and not 22, over 32 years actually, we've not seen any French side being champions or emerging champions in any European competition. After Marseille made it to the finals of the UEFA Champions League and beaten AC Milan to become champions, in 2004, we also saw Monaco make it to the final. This time around, they came up against a Porto side led by Jose Mourinho, and they lost. Now, fast forward, we saw Paris Saint-Germain, another French side, returning to the UEFA Champions League final in 2020, and then they lost again to Bayern Munich. So as far as European finals is concerned, French teams haven't been fortunate. Like I said, they've only won twice. So that was in 1993 when Marseille won the UEFA Champions League. And then a year later, we saw PSG win the Cup Winners' Cup. But since then, we've never seen any French side actually go on to be crowned champions in any European tournament, being it the Europa League, the Intertoto Cup, the UEFA Cup, or even the UEFA Champions League. So the onus lies on Paris Saint-Germain and then their head coach, Luis Enrique, to break this jinx, because in over 30 years, no French side has been able to lay their hands on any European trophy. Now, one of the things they might be looking up to, which could play into their hands, is the fact that the last 4 times the finals of any European Champions League has been played at the Aliant Arena, there's been a new winner. Now, amongst the 2 finalists in the UEFA Champions League, PSG are yet to win it. They've been to the final once when they lost to Bayern Munich, but then Inter Milan has been to the final 6 times. They've won 3 times and they've lost 3 times. Now, the last time they won a competition was in 2010 under Jose Mourinho when they beat Bayern Munich to be crowned champions for the 3rd time in their history. Now, years later in 2023, that's 13 years after they won it, they were in the final again. This time it was in Simeone Inzaghi that led the team, and they came up against Premier League side Manchester City. Unfortunately, they lost by a single goal. It was Rodri who struck for Manchester City, and the citizens also won their first ever UEFA Champions League title. So it's more of history coming up against form and tactics. So that's a bit about history, because Inter Milan themselves, they'll be gunning to win it for the 4th time in their history after beating Barcelona in the semi-final stage 7-6 on aggregate. They'll be poised, and then enthused to actually go into this game to win it. But for PSG, I don't know how that feeling, of never winning it could even inspire them to go ahead and, pip Inter Milan to the title. Now, let's talk a bit about the Inter Milan team. There's a team that considered the fewest goals in the group stages. They just considered only 1 goal in 8 games in the group stages, and their defense has set to be the tightest in Europe this season. It's so difficult to break this Inter Milan team down, but they did so well after qualifying through the group stages. They beat Feyenoord, they beat Bayern Munich, and then also one epic game we saw over 2 legs against the Barcelona, where they were able to win it in extra time. Thanks to a Fratesi goal, they won by 7-6 on aggregate to advance to the grand finale. Now, the possible lineup for Inter Milan possibly could be Jan Sommer, who put up some, heroic saves when they played against Barcelona. So he's definitely going to man the post for Inter Milan. Then there's Benjamin Pavard, who could be replacing Jan Bisek in the back 3. So Bastoni is there, as well as Acerbi. Now, the laterals or the wing backs will definitely be Denzel Dumfries, one of the hottest right backs or right wing backs in world football now. And then Also at left wing back will be DiMarco, who many said that he failed to do the job against Lamine Yamal. In midfield, there's definitely going to be Henrik Mkhitaryan, Barella, and then also Çalhanoğlu. Then up front, we'll get to see Lautaro Martinez line up with Marcus Thuram to do the damage for Inter Milan. So we've brought you everything that this game could possibly see, from tactics, how the teams could set up, with Inter Milan trying to attack using their fullbacks, especially Denzel Dumfries, and then also the hold-up play of Marcus Thuram, to PSG playing that, tiki-taka with a bit of high-pressing game, and then Vitinha controlling the game for them, but then Desiree Doué being volatile on the flank. So it's two tactical nets going head-to-head. Luis Enrique against Simeone Inzaghi. PSG against Inter Milan. Will history favor PSG? Will they become another new side to become champions in the Champions League final at the Allianz Arena? Or we'll definitely get to see Inter Milan? They've been to the finals on 6 occasions. They've won 3 times. They've lost 3 times. Could they be 4-time lucky this time round in the UEFA Champions League? It's the big showdown in the UCL final. But then we'll be taking your predictions, and whatever you think your predictions will be, which team do you think will be crowned champions at the end of the day? Do you think Inter Milan will be winning it, or you're going for Paris Saint-Germain? I'll be glad to read your comments in the next edition.